So to get a really good hip flexor stretch, a lot of people have done the runner stretch, right? And considering it of being a calf stretch as well, which can be both depending on where you're putting your attention and focus. To begin with, most people would come in here and they might have their back arched. Their foot might be rotated out. This is a not great way to do a hip flexor stretch. You're going to turn your back foot straight toward the wall there with your toe. You're going to lean forward with your heart staying up. From here, you're going to take the arch out of your low back by tucking under. And you're also going to try to feel like your hip bones are square with the wall, that they're not rotated. So more important to have your pelvis coming forward and that your tail is tucked under and your heart is up rather than feeling like you go farther in. This is not a better stretch. You didn't make progress by doing this. All right. So lean in, 6 breaths, drive the heel down. You can focus on the heel that way and put a little bit of pressure in the arms down. 6 breaths, tuck the tail. And then from there, you can also consider, can you lift yourself up out of that hip flexor fascia? All right, there's tucking the tail, but you're still in the hip socket. Lift yourself up while tucking the tail, holding the heart up. 6 breaths. Switch sides. And be curious about, one side you might feel the stretch more right deep in the hip. The other side might feel more in the calf or the, quad. Just, your body likes it when you notice it. So pay attention and breathe into the spot that's resisting you. So you're leaning forward, your heel's down, your toes pointing toward the wall. Your pelvis is also square with the wall. You tuck your tail, you lift yourself up out of the hip. On this side, I'm feeling it more in my quad than my hip. Yeah, 6 breaths. Calf, could be groin, could be quad, could be hip flexor. This is a good one. So you get this side opened up. And then the good sequence to do after you do a hip flexor stretch would be the glute work, the bridges, and whatnot. I also consider this stretch actually to be a colon stretch, right? So the hip flexor comes, the colon's right in front of it. They're direct neighbors. So any side bending and stretching that you're doing through there, you can consider the colon. Colon, for a somatoemotional perspective, it's literally just the last part of our intestine. There's nothing useful in your colon. It's just time to go. So what you can also do is when you're done with your exercising or stretching is just put a hand on your heart and one hand on your colon and spend 20 minutes connecting the two. They'll start to talk to each other. You'll feel it in your hands. 10 things you'd like to let go of, right? So these can be emotional things, formaldehyde, metals, the need to be right, sitting with whatever stories are held in your intestine. And you might fall asleep and you don't need to know the story, but my teacher always said find 10 because the first 3 are going to be insignificant. So you can connect to the heart, you can connect to the brainstem and let that communicate. You can let go, you can hold across your eyes and your limbic system. So things that you've taken in of your visual field that you'd like to let go of. What'd you see that you haven't quite processed through? Let the colon talk with that, especially after you've just opened it up nicely. Open it up physically, hands to connect. You can take it to the diaphragm too. This is where the vagus nerve has an umbrella-like branch. So you're connecting in even a trauma response in the vagus where you limited breathing and colon. There's also lymphatics coming through here. So 20 minutes and just take your colon and send it more blood flow even. Blood flow from the heart, neurologic reflexes from the brainstem that control metabolism and bowel motility across the eyes. Yeah, so that's how you do a really good hip flexor stretch. And then paying attention to what tightened in the first place. What'd you flinch in your gut? Did you have a period of time that you had hemorrhoids or diverticulitis or irritable bowel? Process whatever's stored in there, like a dirty garage, and then let it go.